Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screened in LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, creeps the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screened in LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're having an awesome day so far today. Oh, it was a boring day yesterday trading. You couldn't really do anything. Ciao, 500x long. What's up, man? You got Coma. How you doing, man? Noah. Trip. Greetings, programs. Chasm. Good evening, man. Must be on the other side of the planet. More timer. Ciao. Mini boy. And Steerding, of course. How you doing, Steerding? All right, let's get into it. Good morning, DP. So, I adapted my fixed range volume profile poll. I'm not sure if I brought that up yesterday. But we have basically bounced off this form of demand here. And yeah, had some opposing structure against the supply, forcing a range. We're now at the value area low of this 10-day range. We have a cluster of order blocks that we're just tapping now as we speak. So we've already mitigated the 8-hour order block. I believe we might have mitigated the 4. Just tapped into it recently. Yes, we did. And we have an hourly as well that we haven't really got to yet. So we just barely front ran it, but it's relatively close to the equilibrium point of this area, as well as a Fibonacci pull from the low to the high. Our 786 is roughly around the equilibrium point. So we might veer down a bit to reach those forms of confluence. But what I'm looking for now is just reversal structure. We have the positioning, and we'll see if we get the reversal structure. And if we don't get it here, we're likely going to get it around 64,500, where a more macro golden pocket is from the pull from this low to this high, the low being at like 59.9, the high being at 72.2, right? In that area, we have a golden pocket. That golden pocket is flush with $155 million worth of liquidity, likely more because this is just liquidity found on the Binance chart. So this is just Binance alone. That's mostly induced by this event here when we had that bullish change of character in the larger time frames and internal bullish change of character here on like the 15 minute. Yeah, the 15 minute gave us a bullish flip after a break of momentum, and then we had that break of structure, follow up, right? And at that time, we had a local valley area here guiding us into a long, which actually was just used as exit criteria for this valley area to tell us to get out because we're likely going to rotate back up to this valley area high before having this more macro valley area pull. We then had acceptance into this valley area, giving us a target of that local valley area high. Then we had an opposing bearish change of character, loss of momentum, and started coming back down to a valley area low, and now we're here, preparing for the reversal. So basically, what I really like about today's orb is the positioning of the orb. We had a really aggressive drop this morning after getting an SFP. So right here, we had an SFP where we like swept this high and we staircased it a little bit here. We took out a 15-minute orb block in confluence with that, and we kind of got our butt kicked by the VWAP. And yeah, you expect for it to go down, but the follow-through is ridiculous. A big drop. You'd originally think that, oh yeah, we'll probably come down to this low right here and start to slow down. I don't know why it's not drawing for me. But yeah, we'll start to slow down, but we just teleport right to where we need to be to prepare for longs again. So it kind of helps save us some time, this drop. And now we have a fair value gap to help support a decent move up as well. Once we get acceptance within it, we'd have acceptance into the 10-day valley area, acceptance into the orb, and likely a break into the fair value gap and bring us at least to the VWAP at that time in hopes that we get a continuation from there. So yeah, I'm just waiting on reversal structure now because we have the positioning. If we don't get the reversal structure, guys, we can't just jump in or ape into a long because we're at our zone of interest. We also have to wait for that proper structure to define this as support, because we could have continuations instead down to where all this liquidity is. And I bet like a lot of people are staring at this liquidity waiting for an entry, and they'll probably feel like they're trading on a glass floor if it gets front run again, but all that will really technically do is stack more liquidity below us, and it could potentially help induce a continuation down like lower. And I talk about that on this all the time on the channel, where I really want this low taken to help evolve market structure to define this as a good strong key level. It doesn't mean it's not a key level, but a lot more swing based traders, their rules will be met if we take this low first and then have that high taken as a form of support, and then we start having that rotation up. Because right now we're kind of dancing internally between this high and this low on some of the larger time frames, like the 6 hour and above. What we have in the chat. So that's what I'm preparing for today with Bitcoin, is just the reversal structure. We're getting a pullback now. we need 2 consecutive candle pullback, maybe a lower low, then take the high, and then off to the races. And how we get that, it might be here, it might be here. We don't know how the picture is going to be painted, but really all we're lacking is just that bullish change of character. And once we get that bullish change of character, then we're set. And anyone who's like new or doesn't understand what I mean when I say a change of character or a break of structure, we talked a lot about it on yesterday's live before we disconnected. But yeah, yesterday's live we spoke about it. So if you want like a refresher, you can go through that and it'll help you understand what I mean. But really what we were looking for is 2 consecutive candle pullback, lower low, and then that high to be taken. Jump in on the long, stop loss on the strong low, and then we'll be watching the opposing confluence of the supply, this momentum, the orb high as a first barrier, in hopes that it breaks and we get the momentum break and run up from there. It may not happen based on this positioning. We might have it later on, depending on how much we drag our feet. If we instead don't get that reversal posture and we just close inside the valley area, which could just as likely happen, I'm not jumping in the long. I'll be waiting for us to see these lows likely being tested as a form of resistance to bring us back down. So we might have a short-term burst move to the supply that we just created here. But you'll be watching yourself there potentially for shorts, honestly. It could be a short-term like scalp move back down. We just had a conversation about shorts today. I know Jilly would be excited to hear about shorts. Yeah, around here we'll be looking for shorts if we don't get the reversal structure, and we'll just be taking that to our local lows here. There we go. So that's Bitcoin, guys. Looking at Chainlink, it's kind of in an awkward spot. So if we zoom out on Chainlink and the macro here, the daily, and we spoke about this today too, where we kind of tapped this previous macro value area high. This is where we actually, myself and the community, entered like a massive long position, preparing for this move, hoping that we'd break past this downtrending macro momentum, and we did mitigate the supply through like 90 days worth of consolidation. And then we ended up getting, well, I got out at like $30 with my seed investment, but I'm still holding everything but my seed investment right now. So this is a big moment for Chainlink. We need to hold above this key level here. We do not want to see acceptance inside this valley area with a break of structure using the valley area high as a form of resistance. Either a break of structure leading into it or a break of structure within it will likely get us a rotation down to $6.17, while being mindful of the point of control at $7.20. We did have an SFP off the October 10th crash. I've noticed that a lot of alts now are finally taking their October 10th wick level lows from that massive flash crash. Some of them should never have theirs taken, like Atom, for example, like ATOM. Its wick level low is at like 1 penny. So if that gets taken, then that's not an asset anymore. But yeah, so right now, Chainlink, we're just testing against the point of control. It's a relatively strong one if you look at this volume node. Right, we have our supply here that helped induce this reversal. We had our internal bearish change of character, kind of leading down towards its valley area low. So it's showing us we have like relative weakness against Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin continues to go down lower, that Chainlink will likely reach that $8.30 level. However, if Bitcoin does have its reversals, because of Bitcoin's positioning, if we get that reversal posture here, then Chainlink might actually leave this valley area, break this double bottom, get past this POC, and start going back into the valley area at $9.32. Which we range bound. We were range bound here for how long? 4 days. So it's not very strong. we'll see what happens. So it's just basically Bitcoin's positioning relative to Chainlink. It's kind of awkward right now. So we'll see what happens. But I'll be looking for longs around $8.30 for Chainlink when we get down here. We have an order block down here on the hourly, sorry. So we have good confidence for a bounce in this zone. So if I draw pathing, this is what I'll be looking for. One thing that's an uptrend is our subscribers. Oh, we just went up. Thanks, guys. But yeah, we've been growing pretty fast, guys. I really appreciate you guys sharing and subscribing and liking the channel, because it's honestly has been having a big impact over the channel. We've been growing a lot faster. Thank you so much, guys. Who we got in the chat right now? Got oh, you guys are talking. 68K looks like a short opportunity, says Chow. With the leverage that doesn't exist, that'll be intense. Throw in 50 cents into that leverage. 10-minute looks good. Small time frames like accumulation. Yeah, if we look at like the 3-minute time frame, we see a double bottom posture. We got descending structure. Not a proper pullback here though, unfortunately. But we do have what's like a technical flip occurrence here. But I think it'll be a short-lived move, likely to the VWAP supply. And have to watch these previous lows. Nothing that I'm personally going to be taking action on. But if anyone is taking action on this, just know that this is your safest stop loss guard based on this structure at 66,529. And you'll be watching the orb high, the supply, VWAP, and order block confluence here. Now you'll likely hit your head off of this. Be a short-term move. Something like this. Just be cautious. Me personally, I'm not going to be jumping in on the 3-minute structure here. Doesn't mean there's not a trade here. It's just not something I'm looking forward to taking. The R&R is just not there. So we take the long stop loss guard here. You're looking at a 1-to-1 if you're lucky. Like Kelly factor risk management's a thing though. Like Kelly factor risk management's when you have like a super high win rate and the R&R becomes less important. But you still want to have at least a 1-to-1, right? If you're doing that kind of stuff. And 1-to-1s can support win rates of like 50% or more, right? You'd be basically breaking even around 50% win rate. So you don't want to have like at least a 60% or higher on those kind of moves. But if you have a move with a measurable target that generates you a 1-to-2 or greater, you can have a much lower win rate, like 35%, and your wins will keep outweighing your losses. And it's really easy to be consistently growing your account that way. We got. Do you have links to your chart in Discord? Yep. So if you want links to my charts, let me pull it up here for you guys. Everything's slow today. You go to any channel inside the server, right? And you just type exclamation point to begin a command and then charts. And when you type that, you'll get a DM from our bot, the InvestiBot. And when you click on that, you'll get a huge list of charts. When you click on this, you'll be able to see me like drawing on them live, right? So if you click on the primary chart, for example, you'll see like me scribbling around like this and stuff. You could also type exclamation point commands, and you'll get a huge list of commands as well. Oh, wrong chat. You got to do that inside the server. But in the server itself, you type in exclamation point commands. You'll also get a list of commands that can help you as a trader. There's some tools there that you can get directed to that help you trade. All of them being free. You'll get some tips and pointers, some book recommendations. Manny Boy, haven't used EMAs in such a long time. I've forgotten what they look like. Yeah. The primary EMAs that I use is like the 250-day EMAs. So like I'm not heavy into EMAs either. But they're definitely good for confluence. There's a lot of EMA strategies are impulse move strategies. So your trades tend to be shorter term, unless you're looking at stuff on a larger time frame. Like the golden cross strategy is like a really common one. For example, like when the 50 crosses over the 200, or you can prepare for a golden cross or a death cross to help define like really good entries, and then you can use strong lows in the daily time frame or strong highs for your stop loss guard. Well, those are like long-term trades. Those should be position trades when you're using the golden cross strategy, because of the fees could eat you up. Question from Marco. As a long-term investor, do you think now is a good time for an entry of Bitcoin, or do you expect lower prices in the next months? Thanks for your insight. I think yes. Not financial advice, but yes, this is the best time to invest in Bitcoin in its history in terms of on-chain data. So if we look back in time from when our on-chain metrics have been met for defining a bottom, we are now at that point that the conditions are very, 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 very similar to Bitcoin being at 16.9K. What I would recommend doing is, if you're going to accumulate though, try to accumulate below 68,900, and we could go as low as 55K. So just prepare for that mentally. So I'm expecting this low to be taken before we actually come back up, so around 59K. So if you want to have a limit order entry, not financial advice, do it between like 60 and like 58K for accumulation. That's the valley area low for a 250-day macro valley area that we were in for 250 days, right? Our supply will be held at a loss of over 50% if we're below around 62K, like 62.5. And every time the supply has capitulated, it has called the bottom every single cycle. So if the supply is being held at a loss, like majority of the supply is being held at a loss, then it's the best time historically to prepare for a buy order. Not a futures trade, but like a spot position. You can use it in confluence with the futures or inverse perpetual trade, but you need to have you need to be jumping in on a position of strength so you can have a good stop loss in place to prepare for a macro move up. Look at that lower time frames again. So 3 minute. And we could come back to retest this neckline. We'll see. I'm getting some indecision right now. But I hope that helps you out. But basically, yeah, we go through the on-chain stuff a lot on this channel. I don't want to bore anybody because I talk about it a lot. But this is what I mean when I say the supply is being held at a loss. We're at that green box zone now. And the last time we were here, Bitcoin was worth 16K. The time before that was COVID crash. The time for that was the bear market bottom of the last cycle, or 2 cycles ago. And the time before that was 3 cycles ago at a bear market bottom. So we have a lot of those conditions being met now at the current price. And it's starting to kind of like reaffirm what people are saying about a potential super cycle. So we'll see what happens. But the lowest we ever seen the supply go in history is when the supply was being, 37% of the supply was being held at a profit, which is a very, very small amount. And Bitcoin was only worth $200 at that time. And Bitcoin's a lot more mature, and I'm not expecting that to happen. Never say never, but I don't think that's never going to happen again. Yeah. And the Nupal chart is starting to catch up down below too. That's net unrealized profits and losses. So this tells us how much the market is overheated in the sense of like how much are people are holding in a gain that they haven't closed yet, right? And we're in that fear stage right now, coming down. And we could go into the capitulation stage on this chart too, where people have like, in order for that to happen, a large amount of holders need to be holding unrealized positions at a loss. So like they bought it and they kind of went full circle back down and it's being held at a loss. The reason why I think that it's going to be a lot harder for us to get down there is because now we have institutional involvement where they're going to be protecting their positions and protecting their average, right? ETFs started getting in around 47,000. So around 47K is going to be heavily guarded. So just prepare for that kind of mindset when you're looking at on-chain data. Some on-chain tools are not going to behave the same way they did before in the past. And you just got to understand like how they're not going to behave and why. For example, we used to be able to use a tool that told us like how many of the addresses are being held at a loss. And we can't really do that anymore because ETF creators like BlackRock and Fidelity and all of them they're spreading their supply into multiple addresses, kind of resetting that data for insurance reasons, right? So once their capital gets to a certain point in each wallet, they have to spread their wallets in order to be insured in case there's any theft or hacking or anything like that. And yeah, you need to add that S there. Thanks, Sterling. And if for any reason it's not working for you, it could be a typo, or it could be your settings is blocking people from messaging you. So you'd have to go into your settings in your Discord and prepare for that. And we're almost at that barrier, guys, so just be cautious if you did take that long. We're just reaching these previous lows. So this is like a TP1 kind of scenario. If you took it, you're at if you use your proper stop loss guard, if it wasn't too tight, you're at your 1-to-1 right now. And so you're kind of crossing your fingers, in hopes that we get past the VWAP, the order block. I'm expecting for us to hit our head here. Unsustainable kind of pump price action too. Lots of momentum though. Yeah, broke volume trend right here. So just like how you can draw a trend line on your charts, you can do it on your volume indicator too. And that's like a signal on its own, especially when you see like a doji reaction break, doji, and then you break volume trend. It's usually a really good signal to tell you to get ready to jump in. But I would take some off the table here, guys. Okay. D crypto, you took the long and de-risked already. Good job, man. Took it off 1 minute. Rem C, super tight. Stop loss. 1 minute. Nice. So you're looking. And the internal, that was an awkward sweep. Yeah, 1 minute we have local demand here. So we pull back, we could get a bounce. It's looking good so far. How's the chain link responding to that? Slow, fighting against the point of control. My alts aren't really waking up today. Oh, I switched to top chat again. I had it set to live chat recently. Thanks, man. Chow took 50% off. Good job, Manny. Oh, you guys are doing a great job. Love seeing that you're making gains. Is this line look right? Wiggle, wiggle. Yeah. Yeah, you want to have as many connection points as possible when it comes to trend lines for using them. Right? And when you have them, you trust them when the order books say you can trust them. So you need to see sell wall reaction if it's above you, and you need to see buy wall chasing it if it's below you. Or breaking through that VWAP. So you might actually capture 1 to 2 here. Right, if we have the stop loss guard on a strong low. 1 to 2 comes, okay, 1 to 2 is pretty far. Depending on like where you place your stop loss. The orb high is our next barrier. And we're mitigating this order block right here to here. The impulse candle that generated it. Now we have the opportunity to use the VWAP as a form of support. You're probably right. Okay, so you figured it out there, Decrypto. Nice. Yeah, it's just under the settings right here on the left-hand side. And then you go under content and social, I believe. Yeah, social permissions, direct messages from all servers or the servers that you choose so that the bot can message you. It does allow scammers to message you, by the way, so just be careful. You might get an impersonator knocking in your inbox. Just know that I will not message you first. I'll respond to you, but I will not message you first. Their objective is to try to get you to give them funds on a shady platform or something. The most recent kind of trick they're trying to do is tell you want a giveaway or something, because I started doing giveaways on Fridays. Yeah, Manny, that's 100% right, man. Liquidity pools are great spots to prepare for reversals. We did grab some liquidity along the way from this low, but the large majority of liquidity right now in this range is down here at 64.5. We got 155 million there on Binance alone. That can induce a strong reversal. So we might maintain this momentum along the way to take that, or we might hold this. But we did lose some of our order block confluence when we tapped into it from that move up that we just did on the 3 minute there. So the primary confluences that we still have down below us is like an hourly order block and the deviation of the local valley area low. And we just lost VWAP, guys. Not a perfect tweezer reaction, but we got a tweezer reaction. And tweezer tops is a form of confluence, a structural confluence, warning you of a reversal. So whenever you see them, you typically want one to engulf for a higher probability of a reversal. This one's not engulfing. If you don't see any crazy cell shadow wicks either, and this one's not that bad, it's also a good indication to tell you to look at the order books to tell you if there's a sell wall there. If there's a sell wall, you can find out what strength it is, what the quantitative value of it is. And if it's like over 200, it's worth noting. So to find that out, we go to CoinGlass. Or Bookmap, if you have Bookmap. We just did a lesson on Bookmap yesterday. It was fun. So you can zoom in, see if there's a sell wall nearby. 74.9 has about 200, around 200 Bitcoin. So 67.9, sorry. 67.930. 67.930. So we have a sell wall that's looks like it's young, it just started. So there is one right here for about, it's not that much Bitcoin, but some of it might have been filled already. So whenever you're jumping into a trade, guys, I talked about this yesterday. The order books is a great tool to look both ways before crossing the road, right? So if you see there's a giant sell wall on your face, like right here, it's a good time to tell you, okay, maybe I shouldn't jump in because as soon as we get there, it's going to induce a pullback. And then after we tap it, you can see how weak the sell wall has gotten. If it's gone, then that break of structure follow through will, it could save you from a potential loss, because sometimes we'll keep going down and not get the higher high, right? In order for us to get the higher high, the sell wall has to be mitigated. But we know that there's one right here. So if we do bounce here for any reason, we come back up, we have to watch that sell wall that's in our face. It's about 200 Bitcoin. 200 Bitcoin usually goes away after 1 or 2 taps. But if you see one that's like 1,000 or 2,000, that's usually suppression, and it's going to keep the price down. And when we have that violent move down like that, it's easy to kind of retrace. We have a fair value gap here. And close within it likely gets a rotation to here. You're happy to report that the Palladium short printed. Thank you again. Nice. Good job, man. I could tell you stuff, but it's up to you and how you execute it, right? I can tell you this is going up and that we're going to come down based on key level breaks. But yeah, you did a great job at executing it then, man. Congrats. Okay. I do gotta head out in a moment here, guys. Got a few minutes. Going kickboxing, mixed martial arts. I've been learning Cali sticks. If you guys are familiar with those. Yeah, they're pretty badass. I feel like Daredevil. But I learned some really cool some tricks. And sometimes it's hard to when you learn martial arts or even trading, it's good relation to trading and like trying to apply it in a live environment. It's tough So you got to make sure you practice it as much as you can consistently over and over again in a live environment, like through back testing, right? Or through paper trading. Paper trading is like the next stage, right? You practice the movement and then apply it. Remember Cali 6 from Warzone? Nice. Right on. Okay. Just to see if I haven't missed anything before I have to jump off. But yeah, guys, if I were to make a recommendation of what we're preparing for next, I'll give you guys a signal when I jump in, of course, in the Discord. But I'm expecting for us to rotate down still, come back down here. We did tap through our order block, so we'll have to reevaluate this zone. Go to the hourly, niche it down a bit, right? So we don't have this giant green box zone anymore. It's much smaller. The good news is that we probably did induce more liquidity below us, so we could have another bounce follow through from this area, right? So we can do that. There we go. Readjust this text. So now it's not an order block cluster, it's just an hourly. All right, so when we get down there, we can prepare for long again, acceptance into the orb, and maybe this time we'll have more follow through and break this downtrend momentum and get to the opposite side of the valley area. Not saying that we won't here, but I don't think we will this time around. If we don't get the reversal structure here, we're looking for it at 64.5. When I say reversal structure, I just mainly mean like a bullish change of character, like we saw here on like the 1 minute or 3 minute here, and we had this bullish flip. This isn't like picture perfect, but when we got it, allow us to prepare for the entry. And then it's just about looking at the opposing threats, right? We're at the opposing threat now. So we'll see if we get that reversal. A failure to get acceptance back above this VWAP will likely bring us down to retest this valley area low again. If we come up here, we still have our sell wall, so that could induce a reversal, double top us, and then come down as well. If we breach past this, our next area of concern is these wick level highs, where there's likely going to be exit liquidity for anyone who may have jumped in down here. So think like a market maker. Where they planned their exit to be where the most amount of liquidity is likely resting. I don't think this is all retail driven based on these volume candles. So if not a reversal here, I'm glad that some of you guys de-risked already. There'll be a reversal around here. But we're just waiting for that more macro positioning for a strong reversal here. At 66.5 is our main zone for longs here. Can I share my link? Yeah, sure, man. This is my Bitcoin link. I got links for a whole bunch of different assets. But here you go, man. You can save that. Sometimes we change links because people have been selling my charts. It's bizarre. So sometimes we'll change it up. But I'll probably put branding on it. All right, cool, guys. You have yourself an amazing day. I'll see you guys. Today is Tuesday. So, yeah, tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern is our next live on YouTube. We have a trade hunting call tomorrow at 9:15 for members. But yeah, I'll see you guys then. Trade safe. Remember, preparing for longs down here. Watch for reversals where we currently are. We're just waiting on that reversal structure. All we got so far is a pullback. If we take the high, this will become the internal strong low. If the internal strong low is taken, I would not hold that trade any longer. Don't let it come full circle back to you. All right? Just watch out. Yeah, we're hitting that sell wall very shortly. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. And thanks for subscribing. We're growing pretty quick. Yeah, there we go. 72.6. All right. Let's see if we can get to 7 by the end of the day. All right, cool, guys. Have a great day.